All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're exploring a really captivating idea. What if the universe is always trying to communicate with us? But, not through some grand prophecy, but through these little whispers, this hidden light you can find in the most ordinary moments.
I think we can all relate to this one. You're just trying to get through your day and there's just so much noise, right? To-do lists, notifications, chatter, it's so easy to feel completely lost in the crowd. It's that feeling of being totally overwhelmed, just wishing for one single moment of peace and clarity.
But here's the thing. What if, right in the middle of all that chaos, there's a whole other conversation going on? The material we're digging into today suggests that there's this kind of hidden language, one that doesn't use words, but speaks to us through signs, feelings, and these tiny, perfect moments.
To really get what this all means, our source tells us this incredible story. It starts with something super normal, just a walk through a city. But trust me, this walk ends up being anything but ordinary.
Okay, so picture this. You're walking down a busy street, completely lost in your own thoughts when you notice someone. And this person, they're different. They seem to just radiate this genuine warmth, a kindness that's so strong you can almost see it, like a soft glow around them.
And as they get closer, they just smile and say this simple, incredibly gentle phrase in French, "Alors mon petit," which just means, my little one. It's not some big speech, right? It's just a small, really personal moment that just cuts right through all the noise.
Now, the source uses some very specific language here. It doesn't just call this a nice moment, it's framed as a magical encounter with ascended masters, who are described as these enlightened spiritual guides. So that one little phrase suddenly elevates this moment from just a kind gesture to something way, way more profound.
But the encounter isn't over, not even close. As this radiant person starts to fade from view, the message actually continues, but it takes on this even more amazing and totally unexpected form.
So just as this person seems to almost dissolve into light, a bird appears out of nowhere. And it doesn't just fly by, no, it lands right there on your shoulder. And it starts to sing a song that feels less like a sound and more like a secret, a message that's meant only for you.
The source even gives us the exact sound of the bird's song, kukri, kukri, kukri. It's this simple, clear little melody. And by telling us the sound, it makes this really mystical experience feel incredibly real, like you could almost hear it yourself.
And the effect of this song is huge. It's this massive shift in how you see everything. Suddenly, the whole world just feels alive. And the big takeaway is that the divine, that feeling of deep spiritual connection, it's not some distant thing. It's right here, right now, talking to you.
So, of course, this leads to the big question. Who were these messengers? This is where the story shifts from the experience itself to the explanation, and the source actually gives us some names for these guides.
The radiant man, the one with that warm glow and the gentle French phrase, he's identified as Kut Humi. He's described as this kind of timeless guide, a presence who has supposedly helped countless people throughout history find their way.
And the bird song? Well, that message is said to have come from another guide, Adamus Saint Germain. So it's like they're working together. One communicates through this very direct human connection, and the other speaks through the language of the natural world, through music, signs, and nature itself.
And Kut Humi and Adamus Saint Germain aren't just these isolated figures. The source puts them inside this larger group called luminaries. And this group apparently includes famous historical figures known for their wisdom, like Pythagoras and St. Francis. The whole idea is to suggest there's this entire network of guidance out there, a tradition of light that exists just beyond what we normally see.
Okay, so this is a really beautiful story. But what does it mean for us, right? How does it actually apply to our lives? Well, this last part of our exploration is all about that, how we can learn to tune into these messages for ourselves.
This is absolutely the key takeaway. This kind of communication is not about words. The real message wasn't the French phrase or even the bird song. It was the feeling behind it, that warmth, that sense of being seen, that sudden feeling of connection.
So how do you listen for a feeling? The source boils it down to a really simple three-step process. First, just be open. Allow for the possibility that there's more going on than meets the eye. Second, be still. Find a moment to quiet all the noise, both outside and inside your head. And finally, be aware. Pay attention not just to what's happening, but to how it makes you feel.
And this is where you can really see that lesson in action. It's all about reframing your experience. A glowing figure isn't just some weird thing you saw. It could be a comforting presence. A bird song isn't just random noise. It might be a message. And these guides aren't just figures from history. They're a reminder that guidance is always closer than we think.
And the source leaves us with this really powerful idea. If any part of this story feels familiar to you, if it resonates deep down, it's probably not a coincidence. It suggests that you've likely had your own version of this, your own moment of unexpected light, or a song that felt like it was sung just for you.
I love this quote because it just brings everything home. The idea isn't that you have to go out and find these moments. It's that these whispers are happening all the time, all around us. The real challenge is just learning to listen.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. In a world that feels so incredibly loud, what if the most important messages are actually the quietest? The next time you feel a little lost in all the noise, maybe the answer isn't to try and shout over it. Maybe it's just to get still, close your eyes, and just listen. Maybe you'll hear your own song.